Hey guys, I'm gonna go over our employee handbook. So please follow along and just kind of take it in. And here we go. Hopefully you guys can see this. All right. Um, the purpose of this handbook is to inform all of our employees of company policies, and we need you to read this before training begins. So this handbook applies to office staff as well as guides. We don't want you to think of this as a wilderness survival guide or any origami practice or other dangerous activity. We simply want you to read it, understand it, and then you're going to be expected to sign the last page and turn it into us. So this is going to take about 15 or 20 minutes, and you are expected to adhere of all the policies. The first part is about employment and general safety. There are safety standards and rules that each employee must comply with in order to be working for us. We do want you to adhere to these safety standards, and if you need to report any injury of yourself, your clients, no matter how minor, please make sure you do it in a prompt way. There have been times where I found out that one time we found out that we took somebody to the hospital after the trip, and I definitely needed to know about that. So just make sure you communicate really well. We hold all of our employees to a high standard and expect a lot out of you. We are very serious about safety, but we also want you to be professional and fun. That's important to us. That's what makes a great company wonderful, and also to give great tours. So if you have a bad attitude, just know that somebody's going to say something, Jared or I, because we just don't want to have that around. You have a right to equal employment, no matter your race, your color, your religion, your gender, your sexual orientation, your identity, the way you express that, your national origin, your age, your disability, genetic information, marital status, amnesty, status as covered veteran, any kind of accordance with applicable federal, state, and your training. Both companies comply with these, okay? We prohibit any kind of harassment based on these, any bullying or discrimination. We are absolutely committed to providing a workplace free of discrimination and harassment and bullying. Any type of that will be considered grounds for dismissal. Even just slight comments like, wow, you're a girl, like it's amazing that you can pick up that boat. Just kind of be really self-aware of how you speak, because our environment is on an equal level. If you affect somebody else's working environment, you may not unreasonably do that. Everybody has a right to individual work performance. So you may not create an intimidating or offensive work environment. And I do feel very strongly about that. So just be self-aware and know that that is grounds for dismissal. Okay. They include all of these. Any employee found to have contravened this policy, we will ask you to not return to work. Any employee who believes that you have experienced or witnessed this, any discrimination, harassment, or retaliation in violation, please report it. Please report it to somebody, in that we may help you even in a subtle way to take care of it. A lot of times things can be dealt with without any type of drama, and then it's done. So just know that. We will not tolerate retaliation of any kind of any employee who makes a complaint. I definitely just want to know that something might be, happening. Um, our calendar and schedule. You will need to be able to use Google Calendar on your phone, as well as our reservation software called Zola. So we do our schedule at least a week or two in advance. However, you need to check it every night because changes are made. Somebody might switch from the 9 a.m. to the 1 p.m. because their flight came in late. And we're happy to make those changes if we're able to accommodate. And we want to be able to text you or to get a hold of you and be able to allow you on your phone to see that change. So just make sure you check in at night before you hit the hay. Due to the nature of our business, there are not set work hours for you are paid per trip on a seasonal employment basis. So our tours can begin at any time. So if somebody walks up and wants to go out on a trip and you want to take them, we will happily allow that to happen. So there's some flexibility, which is kind of cool. But we need you to arrive about 90 minutes before the tour. Try 2 hours is better, simply because that gives you an extra 20 minutes to, grab a bite to eat, run to the bathroom, and kind of take care of yourself before customers show up. We want you to look good. We want you to have treat our customers and clients professionally. We want you to observe our policies and be safe. We want you to treat your colleagues with courtesy and respect at all times. That looks sort of formal. And that allows our business to maintain a good reputation of all kinds of ages and people, and a little melting pot of wonderful people offering these tours and sharing their ideas and gifts and talents. Dress code. Our dress code is somewhat more relaxed than a traditional business. Basically, we would like you to wear company apparel, usually means a hat, look presentable. Your shirt should have sleeves, not a tank top and not just a bra. You need to be somewhat conservative because you're taking families out and they are feeling scared. So they want to know that somebody with confidence and somewhat of a, formal attire, is taking them down the water. Tattoos and piercings are acceptable, but if your tattoo is considered bad taste for anyone or offensive to anyone, we would want you to just cover it up. And any visible piercing needs to be limited to your ears and nose only, and that there's a clear retainer that you can put in place of it. And that is because we do not want you to have your ear piercing rip out in the middle of a trip and bleeding on your life jacket while you're trying to conduct a tour. So just eliminate the possibility and take all your jewelry and piercings out. As far as complaining, we don't confuse complaining, though, with reporting discrimination or an unsafe work condition. So we have 2 rules on complaining. Please don't, unless you're willing to be part of the solution, and complain up. So if you feel that something needs to be changed or you're unhappy, or like you think employees are in a position where it might be difficult for them to engage, make sure that you, let us know. Okay. We want to know. And maybe we could pay you to solve the problem and build something to make something work better. Just be part of the change. We are an alcohol and drug-free workplace. So you may not drink alcohol on our property, in the bus, in a vehicle of ours. You may not drink alcohol inside of our housing area and office. So any type of area that is owned by the company. So if you need to take prescription drugs that affect your ability to work, please just let me know and I can offer some kind of accommodation for you to be able to carry out your job. Smoking is not permitted while at work. We do not want you to smell like cigarettes when you are on a boat next to children, or having those butts after smoking and in the garbage or on our property, potentially a fire hazard, and also pollution and trash around. Chewing tobacco and other products are prohibited when talking or interacting and on shift. Okay. Vacation days, please let me know when you want days off, way ahead of schedule. We don't offer time off because this is seasonal per trip paid. So if something happens, maybe somebody passes away and you need to be gone for a week, we do reasonable unpaid leave for these emergencies as applicable by law. Okay. They have to be reasonable. And I can work with you on that, but they just know that they are unpaid, just simply because you're not a salaried employee with benefits. This is a seasonal employment job. Plan on working during common travel times. So like 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day. It doesn't help much if you're gone all the time and you take lots of time off or go to football games on a Saturday when you told us you were going to be working in the fall. So we know that everybody is going to take a family vacation, and we'll do our best, but it's not good if it's happening all the time. This is a working season for us. It is very short. So we just want to be really clear about the days you're wanting to work. Internet and email is provided for office staff and also for staff on site as far as like streaming music, but just know that we don't want it to interfere with a person's work. So if the internet's not functioning very well, we'll definitely want you to stop streaming music at the shop while you're cleaning, just so we can carry out and conduct business as best as possible. There are some considerations to protect our company and the potential effects of misuse or abuse of email. Just making sure that if you are an office staff, that you are, corresponding without offensive, demeaning, irritating, threatening, discriminatory language, that you are not using it as a private email, that it is a public email that can be accessed at all times. We have certain people that we'll talk to or have you share photos and videos. So we would love for you to do that. And our company, doing business as Adventure Missoula, is still exploring social media's ability to improve our company and to get the word out about the awesome experience of the Alberton Gorge for people in Montana and visitors. So we're happy to have you help with that. Just let us know. But just make sure that, you're not sitting on Facebook while you're supposed to be greeting your clients. That's what this paragraph is about. Employees do not have a right to privacy in a workspace. So, or use of an email. So if you are in the office, people are going to be coming in and out all the time to come talk to you. So it is not a private location. That includes storage areas, work vehicles, and email is also not a private place. So it's a public company. Timekeeping and payroll. Each day, you as employee, you need to report that you did a tour, a half day or a full day. And if you don't report it, I am not going to hound you for that. I am simply going to run payroll because I can't keep track of 16 people's ability to report accurately themselves. And we do that on a Google Sheet that I can just sort of calculate, and I will give you training on how to do that. It's very easy. You just enter it when you're done with the end of the day. You are seasonally employed with us. So seasonal employment is defined as employment for a specific term, usually the summer with us, and it's less than 7 months. Seasonal employees are considered probationary. So you do not have an expectation that we will hire you next year and file for unemployment or something. If you are just seasonally being hired, we would love and we'll let you know if we're excited about you returning and ask you if you are. So just for subsequent seasons. You get paid via direct deposit. This is the most efficient way for us to work with our accountant. And we do it twice a month. So that will be on the Google Calendar that I showed you on the other video. We use your information in your file to take actions on your behalf. You need to make sure that your file is accurate. So this is a file that I have on my computer that includes, your name, your address, your phone number, any siblings or dependents you have. I'm sorry, not siblings, any children that you have, the number of dependents you're designating. Mostly this has to do with tax reporting, as well as the form that I would send you around the holiday, Christmas time, that goes out at the end of the year, so that you can file your taxes. So we also need to know if there's any restrictions on your driver's license. That is exceedingly important. You will need to be able to drive vans. And if you do not have a driver's license, that becomes an issue as far as like being able to smoothly operate. Overtime, according to the Fair Labor Standards Act, you are not entitled to overtime since you are in a seasonal and recreation business. If you're not satisfied with that, you can talk to us. We can offer fewer hours if you're concerned about working too much. But again, we're just flexible. If you only want to work 3 or 4 days a week, we're going to try to make that happen for you. Tips. We do not ask for or advertise tipping except for notes within our customers' bookings. And then actually there's also a location on our website. But this is what it says. It says tips are greatly appreciated, but not expected. Employees should never solicit a tip from a customer, but you will find that most people tip and they tip very well. There's a very wonderful, courteous, couple sentence note on what to pack, and it includes a tip for your guide to have cash since there's no ATM out in our rural location. And we've found that has increased for you guys a lot after doing that. But it's appreciated, but okay. Probationary period. For any year-round employees, those first 12 months of your employment is a probationary period. This is just explaining that it does not guarantee you to be hired for next year, yada, yada. We expect everyone to perform at the highest level. Poor performance can lead to termination. Here's some information about our Adventure Missoula site. We now provide housing, a shower, a basic kitchen facility for our guides and employees, but use of the facilities is a privilege. So it's not a right, and it can be revoked at our discretion, just deciding who might be a better fit. Housing is provided on a first come, first served basis, and it's also not guaranteed. So it's just something that's there, basically. In a way of free for all, like whoever needs it can use it. Any employees utilizing the facilities are expected to behave respectfully as good guests and roommates. So disruption, damage, other issues can result in facility privileges being revoked or termination of employment. You are responsible for repairing damage that you cause to any part of our property or facility. Possession of drugs and alcohol, especially under 21, is strictly prohibited. Any violation of that rule would again be loss of facility, termination of employment. Okay. Do not have an expectation of privacy. We do reserve the right to search our facility and to make sure that you're compliant. We are not responsible for any injuries that occur on site during or after regular working hours. Any injury or damage to our property should be reported. So if something crazy happens, please make sure you are reporting it. All right. Let's see, corrective action and discipline. Issues with conduct or performance, but not limited to the violation of policies, can be addressed through corrective action. I'll just talk to you. I will maybe write something down, maybe track something. If there are complaints about you as a person, this specific form of discipline is to be used will depend on the circumstances. So it just depends on what's going on, right? If you have an employee complaint, including any conduct prohibited by our policies, you should make that using the following grievance procedure. You should take care of it within 7 days. So if you let it go and say, oh yeah, last month this happened, it's really hard for a manager or an owner to deal with something if you don't report it within like a week. You will see a response right away. If you're not satisfied, you can give it to me in writing, and then you would receive, absolute response. So there is, if you decide to separate, or if you resign, if you decide to leave, we will wish you well. Absolutely. Maybe it's just not for you for whatever reason. It doesn't matter the reason. Raft guiding is a very specific niche thing. So it's all good. Nobody's going to hold a grudge. Please notify us though in writing. So you're going to want to do a formal email so that I can see that. Please try to give us a couple weeks notice. That'll give me time to calculate your paycheck and kind of return equipment or just kind of properly check you out. And if you leave us and move on, you still have an obligation to keep our information confidential. So just know that that is a legal thing. Final paychecks. Employees who resign from your job will receive a final paycheck, and it's usually within 15 days. I mean, you get paid twice a month. So that's kind of what you're looking at there. Before the first day of work, please bring your employee documents, a signed copy of this. We do this during training, have that signature, and then you do not need to bring any equipment. We will provide everything for your training. This is our COVID-19 information. It's always changing. Who knows what will come up next, right? We are requiring our employees to take certain measures to ensure safety. We want you to wear masks and gloves when you're preparing and serving food. At this time, we are no longer wearing masks. So this has been, can you? Absolutely. We're going to clean our vehicles between trips as much as possible with our staff that we've hired. You'll see me in there cleaning flat surfaces a little bit more than normal, maybe than in previous past 7 years, just because COVID is, we don't want people getting sick. And then just make sure that you self-certify that you are asymptomatic. If you are feeling ill, you should know. You should have known the night before. We should not hear an hour before the trip because people are paying $500 and flying in with their flight to come do this. So, that's going to be a huge problem if you report it, the day of. You should notice and be self-aware of yourself feeling a little bit off well in advance. If you have any questions or encounter any difficulty with clients, please let me know, right? And this is your part where it says, I have received a copy of this. I understand it's my responsibility to comply. And I understand that I should consult with Jared or Sarah regarding any questions that you might have that have not been answered yet. And that you voluntarily and acknowledge that there's no specified length of employment with us. This handbook and the policies supersede any conversation we've had. This is like our main, policy book. So we reserve the right to change hours and wages and conditions. So, if you, what's great is that we're a tiny company. So if you decide, I want to work more, we're happy, we can make that accommodation very quickly. And also you agree that nothing is intended to create a contract, a promise, or a representation of continued employment. And it could be terminated by law, by you or us at any time. Okay. All right. And then you sign. There you go, you guys. There is your employee handbook information. Thanks for listening and going through that. Oh, let me know if you have any questions.